So coming now to the Engineering Change Lab specifically. So the Engineering Change Lab, as it was originally launched and continues to be a platform for ongoing collaboration. So on the one hand, it's a platform for deepening our big picture understanding of what is that higher potential of the engineering profession to contribute to society. And at the other hand, to very tangibly identify and take action to advance initiatives that are experiments that are trying something new in the system. So it's both a forum for big picture thinking and for tangible action. And it's the combination of those two things over time and collaboration that are really powerful in the lab approach. And something that's kind of inherent in the lab approach is we're always evolving and kind of shifting and changing our approach as we learn more and as things kind of progress. But these are kind of foundations of why the Engineering Change Lab exists and our ongoing work. So one of the questions that came up very early in the Engineering Change Lab, in even the first workshop, is, well, wait a minute, what is the engineering profession? How do we even think about that? And there are different ways to answer that question. And one of the ways that we came to very early was to kind of break engineering down into its subsystems. So you can look at who goes into an engineering career from K to 12 grade school into a university or college or undergraduate program. So there's kind of the education, the post-secondary education subsystem. How many of them graduate? Who doesn't graduate and why? When they graduate, who goes on to actually become a registered engineer, who for whatever reason doesn't become a registered engineer after graduating with an engineering degree? What are the ranges of all the different types of workplaces, private, public, university, civil society, in which engineers work, and how are they adding value in those workplaces? And obviously this is kind of the flow of an individual from K to 12 to university to a workplace to retirement. There's also an inflow of foreign trained engineers, which is a critical part of the system. And then supporting all of this, you have regulatory bodies, advocacy bodies, government policy and investment. So this is one way of kind of conceptualizing the engineering profession as a system. And the lab actually creates artifacts like this because it's a way of actually deepening our work by kind of capturing slides like this. Allows people to kind of more quickly come in and kind of catch up and form their own conceptualizations. It also allows us to go to kind of another level of detail. So for example, if you zoom in on the K to 12 side and you start looking at K to 12 in Canada, there's over 5 million K to 12 students in Canada, over 15,000 schools. And so if you're thinking about, as the Engineering Change Lab or the engineering profession kind of intervening in the K to 12 part of the system, because you've rightfully identified that it's critical who actually chooses to go into an engineering education and why, if you're choosing to focus on that part of the system, it's important that you understand your design constraints. Right? You might have a great program that works in 1 or 2 schools, but there's over 15,000 schools in Canada. So having this kind of knowledge at hand and being able to share it rapidly allows us to be sort of more sophisticated in our approach and more realistic. Similarly, in the university system, there's almost 77,000 undergraduates at any given time, 19% female. It's about 6% of total university undergraduate enrollment, and there's 36 universities, 4 institutes of technology, 2 colleges, offering a total of about 270 accredited programs. So again, these are sort of our design constraints, and we're thinking about our experiments and our initiatives. We can do this with the understanding of the bigger context. That's just a little bit of a taste of this type of work. Obviously, there's a lot more detail and nuance in each of these subsystems, and part of the ongoing work of the lab is actually to keep understanding these subsystems and where the leverage points are within them.